Welcome to the weekly review for Week 11 for the Freedom Fantasy League. Well, we made it through, but there's still much more to do with the finish line in sight. It's been quite a ride, but there's still much to decide. Who'll end up in what place? Who will win or lose the race? These are the reasons we fight. All right, let's move on to the match scores for Week 11. All right, the doc gave a gastric bypass to the gut, trimming him 218.25 to 200.55. The uncle beat the nephew for the second time this season, giving him a clean sweep of his familia this season. This was a great showing from the gut, since he would have beaten all three teams in the league this week. But of course, one of the three was the doc. Yeah, right now, the gut is showing the fighting spirit that we talk so much about by constantly making moves to try to improve his team. Yeah, some are working out great, like Bo Nix and Chris Boswell, but others not so much. But he keeps working and researching, and after scoring his lowest point total to date this past week, he scored his highest point total to date this time. Yeah, and that's without a couple of his players not scoring like they used to. Yeah, good job, the gut. Yeah, keep up the fight, but watch out for those fantasy landmines. All right? Watch them. They're there. The Doc was able to pull out the win on the back of Puka Nakua's 28.8 points, Breece Hall's 33.1 points, and T. Higgins hitting an incredible 47.8 points. Yeah, the gut has 2 wins, but one of them is against Mom Spaghetti, who he takes on next week. And the Doc will face off against the now suddenly limping Snake Eyes. On the back of Joe Mixon's incredible 53.8 points, Blue Hair White Dragon ate Mom Spaghetti 216.6 to 192.65, giving her a clean plate after she also beat Mom Spaghetti way back in week 2. Now, this battle though, right? This battle had all the makings of a match of the week, with Mon Spaghetti leading 192.65 to 162.8 going into Monday night. But the aforementioned Mixon went nuclear and scored enough in the first quarter to give BHWD the win and killing the suspense pretty quickly. Yeah, so as already mentioned, next week, Mount Spaghetti's looking to get revenge on the gut as Blue Hair White Dragon looks to take on the now reloaded TGMP. All right, Saquon Barkley and the Super Mariota brothers squashed Foreign Blazing Sword 160.65 to 143.75, avenging the Week 2 loss. Now, we joke about it, but it really is the truth. Yeah, that Saquon is the beginning and the end for Super Mariota brothers. Yeah, this week he had some help, though, from Jameson Williams playing against the Porta Potty Jaguars, but Barkley gave S&M brothers a 46.8 point effort this week, which helped negate Foreign Blazing Sword, defense, and kicker, both scoring over 21 points each. Another match poised to be a thriller. Saquon Barkley and the Super Mariota brothers held a fragile 160.65 to 107.4 point lead heading into the Monday night game, with the scary stack of CJ Stroud and Nico Collins loaded for a Foreign Blazing Sword, giving him a great chance to make up the 53.25 gap. As the first snap of the game happened, CJ Stroud found Nico Collins for a 77-yard touchdown strike, assuring Foreign Blazing Sword the victory. However, disaster struck a penalty. As the yellow laundry laid on the field and the words "illegal man downfield" came out of the referee's mouth, both the points off the board and on Foreign Blazing Sword's roster were removed. Stroud and Collins didn't have to do much as Joe Mixon tore up the pathetic Dallas defense, only tallying a tick under 40 fantasy points, giving Saquon Barkley and the Super Mariota brothers the win. The Super Mariota brothers will look to stay in the playoff hunt as he takes on Oh My Gato, that's me, and Form Blazing Sword will lock horns with the suddenly surging Blitz. All right, so this leads us to the match of the week. All right. Yeah, the result of this match is on one side what every fantasy football player hopes for, and on the other side what every fantasy football player fears. Yeah, so the match started with an obvious knockout blow when the highest score of the week, Jared Goff, scored 73.7 points, making Oh My God to relive that nightmare of the previous week when Lamar Jackson and Jamar Chase handed him a quick knockout. Add Tyreek Hill looking like Tyreek Hill, and DeAndre Swift juking a defender out of his shoes for a long touchdown, and the recipe for disaster just kept solidifying for Oh My Gato. Now, it wasn't all bad for the apparently fading feline. Jordan Love scored above projected points, and Cooper Kupp partied like the 2021, scoring 40.1 points, keeping Oh My Gato's hopes alive. As the smoke cleared on Sunday, all of TGMP's players have performed, giving him a fantastic 177.65 point total to Oh My Gato's 149.65 points. All but one of Oh My Gato's players had played, leaving him with the Houston Texans defense to make up for the 28-point gap. In the first quarter, things were looking pretty hopeful when Derek Stingley Jr. intercepted a rare CeeDee Lamb miscommunication pass, leading to Texans points, but that caused complacency. The Texans defense then started playing a little too loose, which allowed Cooper Rush to start picking them apart, ending with a long touchdown toss to Jalen Tolbert for the Cowboys. As the first half went on, the Texans defense just couldn't stop the suddenly competent Cooper Rush as he moved down the field. But thankfully for Oh My Gato, the Dallas Cowboys are a clown show. Faking the fake, the Cowboys called for and failed on a fake punt, allowing the Texans to get good field position that ended in points, further applying the pressure. Yeah, but however, Cooper Rush, kept pushing, and the points were nowhere near what they needed to be, as the Texas defense couldn't get any sacks and kept dropping easy interceptions. Yeah, hope was all but lost for Oh My Gato, as the Texans had a 17-10 lead going into the half, and the Texans, looking like their killer instinct, had turned into kindness instinct, not wanting to embarrass their neighbors on national television. Yeah, that's not even mentioning like the missed field goal for the Cowboys. All right, it was incredible. Or how about whenever they made the field goal, the Cowboys made the field goal, and there was a penalty by the defense, Texas defense, which made them, it gave them a first down, so they kept going, and then they ended up going for it for 4 and not getting to it. On the fourth down and not getting it. That was incredible. That was a good part of the first half. All right, but I already told you about the bad part of the first half. Let's talk about and see what happened at the second half. Well, DeMarco Ryans must have given the team one heck of a halftime speech, because the Texans came out a different team. The defense turned aggressive and started to get to Cooper Rush, shaking his accuracy. The new defensive approach, along with the starting players on the Cowboys' offensive line getting hurt, allowed the Texans defense to make the play that turned the tide equally for the Texans and Oh My Gato. Starting deep in their own territory, Cooper Rush went back to pass, and as he pulled back to throw, the defense was able to knock the ball out of his hands, which fell into the offensive line's hands, who predictably fumbled when he tried to run, allowing the Texans to not only recover the fumble, but run it in for a score, giving the Texas defense 26 points and reigniting Oh My Gato's hopes and indicating that the answer to his prayers was yes. With the Cowboys playing from a substantial deficit, they became one-dimensional, allowing the Texans defense to keep going after the now crumbling Cooper Rush Yeah, and getting sack after sack after sack as the final seconds landed on zero. The Texas defense earned 32.6 points. Needing 28, they scored 32.6 points. Yeah, like Wyatt Earp screaming, "No! No!" The Texas defense put up a season-best performance and willed Oh My Gato to an 182.25 to 177.65 win, the 4.6 being the smallest margin of victory for the league this week. Yeah, the come from behind win was the first of the season for Oh My Gato and hadn't happened to this degree since he won the Rambo back in 2021. And this win was just as badly needed. Yeah. Now, to his credit, after the heartbreaking loss, TGMP immediately texted a congratulations to Oh My Gato, and there's reason for optimism for TGMP. His 177.65 would have beaten more than one team in the league, so he isn't the worst one out there. So yeah, good job. Way to show class, TGMP. All right, on to the blowout of the week. All right. Hey, we finally have a blowout of the week that doesn't involve me. Oh, so nice. So nice, especially how painful last one was. Yeah. Oh, I probably should mention, the commissioner's not here, or the co-commissioner's not here because he's working, and then he's going to the Renaissance Festival, man. Pretty sweet, right? He spends the weekend out there, so, lot to do. So it's just me. Hopefully that's okay. So he will be back. He didn't bail on me. Okay, he's just life, baby, life. All right. Speaking of life, in life, there's always seems to be that one person that gets you every time. No matter how good you're doing, they pop up from time to time just to remind you that they are just a little bit better than you. For me personally, though, I can share here, right? For me personally, it's a guy named Anthony Sapp. Yeah, when I was heavily in the local music scene, he was the bassist that was widely accepted as the best bassist in Houston. I moved to worship music thinking, hey, I can avoid his shadow, only for the guy to not only get hired at one of the biggest churches, but was a worship leader too. I mean, just some guys you just can't beat. You just can't beat. Hats off to you, Anthony Sapp. He really is a good bassist. He's worthy of the claim. But still, come on, man. Anyway, that was the case in this week's blowout of the week. We are all aware of the one that rules the league in 2024. He's the guy that just can't lose. Even in the week when his defense and kicker were on bye and he decided to go without a defense, he won. Even when his soul-crushing running back, Derrick Henry, had an unusual bad game, he won. Even when Dak Prescott got knocked out for the season and CeeDee Lamb was hurt, he won. None of us can beat the monster. None except one. Yeah, going into the match, Snake Eyes only had one loss on this season. That was way back in week 2 when James Cook exploded for over 40 points for Blitz and looked like a league winner. Well, it turned out that was more of a flare-up and not the flame, and it seemed that having unusual production from a player on the opposing team was the only way to beat the king. Yeah, none of us had that luck when playing Snake Eyes, but this week, luck was on Blitz's side again when he rolled the dice and it was Jerry Jeudy and Christian Watson who Blitz incredulously played. They were the ones who helped him roll a backdoor Little Joe and win the game. Judy's amazing 43.2 outing combined with Christian Watson's 34 points along with Joe Burrow's incredible 62.1 points gave Blitz the blowout of the week over Snake Eyes, 230 to 182.85, beating him by 48.15 points and giving Blitz a clean sweep of Snake Eyes, being the only team in the whole league to beat the king this season. At first, it looked like Blitz is some kind of fantasy football soothsayer who was able to read the fantasy tea leaves and see that Jerry Jeudy and Christian Watson were on the verge of breakout performances and wisely put them into his lineup. But under closer inspection, it looks like he gumped into the glory, considering that his normal starters Sam Laporta and Wan'Dale Robinson were on byes, and that was the only players he had left to play. Yeah, so, but well, whatever influenced the decision, it was a good one, and he is now the only one to poke Snake Eyes. Yeah, next week Snake Eyes will look to get back to his winning ways against the Doc, as his team will be ravaged by the bye weeks. Yeah, dude, check out Snake Eyes' team. All the starters on the bench with byes is insane. Yeah, in the past, it was once mused that Snake Eyes' bench can beat any team in the league, and this week we'll find out if that's true. Blitz will look to extend his month-long win streak as he takes on the Renaissance team, Form Blazing Sword. Okay, all right. So that was the blowout of the week. Finally, right? This the king went down in spectacular fashion, but we'll see. We'll see what happens if this was an indication of things to come or it's just a blip on the radar. We'll find out. Either way, he's 9-2. It's not like he's not going to playoffs. Okay, so here we go. All right. Speaking of rankings, let's go ahead and move on to the rankings and let's see where everybody sits after week 11. Number 1, even after being bested by his nemesis, Snake Eyes still reigns supreme with a 9-2 record. Sitting at second with a 7-4 record is Blue Hair White Dragon. Also, with a 7-4 record, the Doc retains his third place standing. In fourth, hotter than a pepper's brow, Blitz sits with a 6-5 record. After being Joe Mixoned, Mom Spaghetti drops one place to fifth with a 5-6 record. And after that thrilling come from behind blessing from God, who actually God deserves all the credit for that win. Okay, all glory goes to him, none to me. That was his win. Yeah. Oh My Gato jumped up one spot to sixth place, also with a 5-6 record. In seventh, moving up a rung in the playoff ladder, Saquon Barkley and the Super Mariota brothers are in seventh, also with a 5-6 record. Dropping all the way down from fourth, Form Blazing Sword landed at eighth after his loss, but with also a 5-6 record, he is basically tied for fifth. All right, so all those ones, yeah, from eighth to 5, same record. All right, now here comes the ones that are a little bit different. All right, and since we made that voting change, everybody, yeah, this has changed. You know, everybody's in the playoff race. It's exciting. It's gonna be exciting to the end. In ninth, staying put, ninth place, TGMP sits with a record of 4-7, but still in the playoff chase. And lastly, with a record of 2-9, but still in the playoff hunt, especially after the moves he has made, the music to our ears, the gut is in 10th place. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. You know, let's go ahead before we end the review. It's time to call out some teams. Yeah, for some embarrassing situations with a segment we call Oops, I Shit My Pants. This past week, there really was a little bit more than last time. If you remember the previous video, there was only 2 plops. Yeah, this one, we all loaded up. We all had healthy meals, starting with me. Okay, oh my gato, me. For starting DeAndre Hopkins over Josh Downs, who scored over 3 times as many points as Hopkins. Here's a bellow from the commissioner. TGMP lived up to his name when he started Romeo Doubs over Xavier Worthy, who scored 6 times higher than Doubs. With a name like TGMP, this sound is only fitting. Now, I wouldn't recommend eating at any restaurant that serves Mom Spaghetti after she started Terry McLaurin in the flex over Brock Bowers, leaving Bowers 41.3 points sitting on the bench. Yeah, you don't want any of that homie meal if this is how it's going to make you feel. All right. The Doc was needing some clean drawers. Stat! When he started A.J. Brown over Marquez Valdez-Scantling after MVS scored over twice as many points as Brown. And ironically, Brown was what his Through the Looms were seeing. And it was also exactly what he was doing. All right. Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Man, AJ Brown. Anyway. Yeah, dude, it's one of those things. All right, last one. What goes in must come out, and that's exactly what happened to the Gut when he started Cedric Tillman over Jordan Addison, who scored over 3 times as many points as Tillman. Into the Gut went a plan, and out of the Gut came this. All right. Okay. All right. So that ends it. All right. That ends our little segment there. See a little bit more, but not that many. Yeah. Pretty good. Yeah. And some of it was just bad luck, but hey, we're having fun here. Okay. Let's move on to the bye weeks. This coming up bye week, man. This week's bye week, the one that has come for us all, right? In week 12, the teams that are on bye are the Atlanta Falcons, the Buffalo Bills, Cincinnati Bengals, Bengals, by the way, Bengals, yes, Jacksonville Jaguars, New Orleans Saints, and the New York Jets. So plan accordingly. All right, so that wraps up the Week 11 review. One league update, everybody. The trade deadline has expired. So what you have now is the army that will either lead you to the Rambo or the one that'll lead you to the Mortifer. Yeah, the playoff push is now beginning. All right. So with that, congratulations to the winners, consolations to the losers, and see you guys and gals next week. And of course, in honor of my bro, in respect of my bro, stay strong, be a good courage, and long live the Republic.